Okay, we are live. There we go. Let us just make sure that the streaming isn't paused. Come on. Move. Okay. Hello, people. Welcome to part 3 of the World Creation Project. Last time we went over our nouns, the animate, inanimate distinctions. We have found the patterns for cases and number. It's been I think 2 weeks, so I'm just going over this again. We also have the beginnings of our adjectival system. So, yeah, that looks about right. So, inanimates have collective and singulative forms. Animate have singular, dual, plural. Each takes one of 4 case. And we have a somewhat templatic morphology going on here. And then this is the sentence we have to translate later on. So let's see. Agnatli. Alright, then also figure out the forms for those. Let's create got a good idea for an allophonic variation. 300. So TL TL becomes typeit.ipa ipa.typeit, other way around. I should say that L becomes sl in the environment of T followed by a V. I think that looks good enough. God, I haven't written phonemic rules in forever. Phonological rule? Yeah, okay. Still got the training. So, L becomes shl after a T and before a vowel. So, Knatli Tigma. Romanization. Right. Okay. So, I think we ended last time trying to figure out if we wanted articles in the language or not. And I think we were pretty divided, with some wanting articles and some thinking that it would be better without. I think, because I was actually having this idea before, Dijksel agreement, which means that there's agreement on the deixis of an object. Oh, what was the Fourier thing? distinction I wanted. It was here by the person, there by you, over there by the other person. And there was a fourth one that I couldn't. Temporal deixis, social deixis. There's a lot of ways language can be split up. Indexicality. Right. Yeah, I remember that now. What was the language? Actually, waltz would be a good place to go. Features. Deixis. What would the features be called? God damn, there's a lot of stuff here. Help me out, people. Number of deixis terms in a language. Hello from Vermont, Pinyayo. And welcome to the present time, Alex. Types of deixis with an example. I don't know how much I trust this website. Languages with a four-way deictic system. Wait. Why are you up so early or up so late? So here, there, here, there. Okay, so apparently Malagasy has a complex system of deixis. These, those, here, there, with 7 degrees of distance, as well as evidentiality across all 7. Oh my. The evidential dimension is prototypically visible versus non-visible reference. However, the non-visible forms may be used for visual references, which are only vaguely identified or unclear boundaries. So, oh my. But then what's the distinction between this reference and this reference? Because they're both visible and non-visible. That doesn't help to explain it. Let's see if this guy has a better answer. Well, that just gives me another book to read. The Lewo language. God damn, I can't remember. Oh, more people have joined when I'm getting frustrated over figuring out if there's a four-way deictic thing. Proximal, less proximal, distal, and less proximal, not medial? Proximal and distal. Between proximal, medial, neutral, and distal. Less proximal, distal, and invisible. I don't think invisible was my original idea. But, yeah. I think I will keep that. And then I'm going to add a whole other aspect to the adjectives. I think adjectives will not agree in case. I think I'll have them just agree in gender, but they will also have to agree in the in deixis. So what I mean by that is, let's get rid of these. Actually, no, I'll keep case. I'll get rid of number. So they do not agree in number. I'm gonna have to expand that. Instead, and you have to give the deictic information of a noun when you say it. So it is, so the base noun takes no article, and it is marked as indefinite. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah. I think I'll keep it as invisible. So, a man. But then when you're saying the man, it has to be using deictic information. So, the man, this man, I guess, a knatli, I'll figure out the agreement later. So, close to speaker or around the speaker is proximal. It also includes personal pronouns, by the way. So, proximal, I, here, this. Distal is when it's away from the speaker, either you or someone else. And that's that, you, he, she, it. And then if you have a three-way distinction, it'll make a distinction in the distal, where there'll be a distal and a medial. Medial is you, that, there, and distal becomes only he, she, that over there, yonder, and whatnot. Then let's do knotly. So it's unstressed, which means the vowels become. Oh, I could have sworn oh, there they are. Vowels become a and o, so that's unstressed. That man. You. Other. Other. I can't think. Een. That doesn't go against the syllable structure. No, it does not. Een Gnatli. So that man over there. And then finally, invisible is Knatliti. Actually, I want a different sound than that. Knatlis. Knatlis. That man can't see them. Okay, so that's basically just determiners, but the adjectives and the verbs will have to agree with their deictic quality. And then Aknatli. Let's just have a N there. Yeah, that seems good. That's good. That is very good. You cannot make good things until you make shit. Just remember that. You cannot make good things until you've made some shit. So go out there and make as much shitty conlangs as you want. Okay, so now gotta figure out the... Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh my god, I forgot about that. Oh, a syllabic voiced velar fricative is not that weird. The, anything can actually be a syllabic component. Like, some Tamazight dialects have syllabic consonant, stops. Like, full-on syllabic stops. Some Ryukyuan languages don't go quite to the stop level, but they have entire words of just consonants. Like the I can't remember what language it was, but the word for comb or hair or something was ft. Like that's the word, just ft. Pretty sure it's Tamazight. Let me fact check that so I'm not just giving complete bull. Was I wrong on that? I will figure that out later and send a post to the community, as I don't want to spread any false information, but I also need to be creating this language. So yeah, that sounds about right for a first conlang. After you get the phonology down and the endings down, it can be very hard to jump from that to actual word creation and grammar creation. And one way I found that helps me with that is to get a bunch of sentences and just translate them into your language, thinking up of different ways they may be translated both directly and into a more colloquial form of the language. Oh, weird ways of word orders are just beautiful. Let's see. So I want to make them agree. So this is the base form. So I think maybe we can have the first consonants of actually we can just add them to the end. Knatlit here. Overrides the following thing. Knatlis. Well, the thing, I mean, that's interesting. That is actually interesting. I'd say keep that if you're happy with it. Actually, just keep it because it's pretty good. But the purpose of a passive sentence is to raise the object or the patient of the verb into the subject position. So it's taking a transitive sentence and making it intransitive by making it affect the object itself, which usually means that the previous subject or the previous agent, previous subject or the agent, is then delegated to a less, what's the word? A more marked form, maybe? No, that doesn't. It's delegated to a different type of form. So instead of just being plain, it's preceded by a preposition, or it takes a different case instead. So it seems to me that you're thus made a passive and have made more of a topic marking structure. The language has full morphological interrogativity. Oh god. How do passives work again in ergative languages? I can't remember, but I think you might be better off with an anti-passive voice instead, which again makes the verb intransitive but upgrades the role of the subject, of the agent, to that of the subject, instead of leaving the patient as the subject, if that makes sense. God, syntactic marking just makes my head hurt. Okay. So, in active passive languages, or active languages, nominative, accusative, the passive's goal is to elevate the object of the sentence or the patient to the subject. While in an ergative language, ergative absolutive, the goal of the antipassive is to upgrade the agent to that of the subject. Because in ergative languages, the subject is the patient. If that makes sense. In syntactically ergative languages. Not always. I mean, ergativity in languages have so much space on them that they can exist. So many different variations. But as a general rule of thumb, nominative accusative, the subject is the agent unless it's passive. And in nominative, in ergative absolutive, the patient is the subject unless antipassive. Does that make sense? Because I don't feel like I'm making sense. Okay. Now let's... I mean, you don't have to. You can keep going on the route you're going. Because you're going to learn a lot while doing it. And if you're able to tweak some stuff, like make minor changes, you might have a really cool language that has a small chance, like a 1% chance, of not having been discovered in the natural world. Which would be amazing if anyone ever actually manages to do that. Okay, yeah, so the... So when talking about ergative languages, I would highly recommend not using the SOV or SVO language, as that is quite... as that is very Western European type marking. Like, that works really well for nominative accusative languages, but not so much for ergative absolutive. I would instead recommend you define them by agent patient verb or sole verb. But yeah, if you want that, that would be a good... yeah, that would be quite good to have OSV be the default and SOV be the antipassive. You could also make it split S. And what that means is... oh god, how do I describe split S? I'm going to have to make a video on that. I'm going to need to do more research before I actually just try to describe that. As that can be difficult for people to understand. So this lengthens the final... no. Okay, so that is... thank you for that. I will be having a new video, another Schwa Basics, out sometime this week about the difference between phonetics and phonology, the two fields of linguistics. So, look forward to that. Yeah, so I think at this point it's just copying what's going on down there. So I could actually, I think, because I'm trying to make this as inflectional as possible, I could keep the Casal agreement there. And then the proximal is just n this n plus medial is t distal is in, and it combines with or overrides the combines with the but lengthens a final oo. Yeah, we'll get back to that later. And then divisible. And then indefinite. And this is marked by an S. Okay, so let's see. So I think that is good. Let's see, Guillemot. So if that's meant to be in, I feel like that should be a long vowel. Scheme. Yeah, that'll be a long for when this happens. Why are you not? Oh my god, that's annoying. Okay, there we go. Inam. So I think, oh, that's gonna be a problem. Inanimate has the same ending as the invisible suffix. Okay, so probably a good idea to start working on actual documentation so I don't have the same problem I did with her. Oh, before that, actually, I want to go over because I made some changes to the phonology and some historic changes that has led to the modern phonology. So, I got rid of the uvular fricative. Instead, that is fully allophonic, depending on if the word has a velar or a uvular. And so, f, s, and ch come from an older aspirated p, t, ts, and k, with t originally being th before merging with s, the s. The p, t, ts, and k were originally both b, d, z, and g, as well as p, t, ts, and k, before merging in the language right before this, and before becoming the fricatives. This gave rise to tones in some sister languages. Retroflexes come from the alveolar lead or followed by the r, and the retroflex r comes from the rolled r. K and r first came into the language from contact with another language before falling into the agreement system. The reason I made these was because I got these ideas so I can more easily derive the sister languages of this language. So I can expand the family tree by rolling back some changes and moving forward with other ones in a different branch. As like I said, some of these languages might be tonal. So that's the reason I did that. I just got the idea and I noted this down real quick in the notes. If you want to see these notes yourself, as always, the link to the folder, Google Drive folder, is in the description, as well as a link to my Patreon. Please consider subscribing. Shameless plug over. And I don't think I added anything else there. So before I go and make the documentation, let us figure out verbs first. Yeah. So both the agent and patient are marked with the same direct. So I think it would be good. Hard distinction between transitive and intransitive verbs. Ooh, I actually thought of a way to do that. That's going to be a good way to do that. So let me just make some of these. And then let's just make a hard distinction from our nominals versus from our verbials. So, and then make a little idea note. So we have agent before the object and object before the agent marking. So let's take the verb zigam, zugma, zugma. So our example sentence, courtesy of who was it again that really wanted me to have the word sexual? It was because you were having the typo, Alex, wasn't it? So our examples. Oh. Zugma. So I think Zugma, the final stressed would be a good idea for the infinitive. Infinitive slash the intransitive form. And then Zugmi, Zugmu. So this is agent first. This is patient first. And the topic is marked by placing it first in a sentence. So, oh, I didn't type the word topic. So the topic is marked by placing it first in a sentence. If there's an infinitive or an intransitive, it is Zugma. I think we're gonna need to have should I make the language split S? Verbalize split S. Oh, that's active state of language. No, that wouldn't work with the structure we have currently. Zugma, Zugmi, Zugmu. Zugmai. Zugmau. Zugmau. Zugmai. Zugmau. Zugmei. Zugmo. Yeah, I think that's a bit better. Trying to think about how this would work. Ooh, I got another 5-brain idea. Great 5-brain idea. So, if the subject of an intransitive is in the direct case, it's active. If the subject is in the indirect case, it's inactive. So this is gonna be this is gonna get me demonetized. Wait, no, I'm already demonetized because of the stupid verification email. So I can do this with God, Google Drive, why are you like this? So I can do this without consequence because they are not paying me anymore for whatever reason. Excuse the bitterness in my voice. So if we have something like, what was the feminine form? Knatli, Knatla, Knatli. Knatli, knatla. Tugme. If I want to, let's add. Yeah, there we go. Knatlis, knatlas, tugme. That man is fucking that woman. And then if we do it reverse them, it means the exact same thing, but the order of the words is different. Did I just lose all my viewers from that? Anyone still there? I should pick some better example words. Let's think up of a word for to eat. I think that'd be much better. Need a root. Oh my god, not ligma. I should not. Funka. Because of assimilation, that becomes funka. To eat. Verb. So, knatlis fuslars, tugme, fuslars, knatlis tugmo, the man eats the apple, and both of these sentences mean that. Does that make sense? And then if we were to say something like funke, funkai, funkao. And then we were to say something like the man eats, and the apple is eaten. Is Alex 15 minutes behind again, or did I scare him away with my example sentences? Knatlis funka. Knatlis funka. And the indirect afuslar. Afuslars funka, because it's in the indirect, it is the being affected by the verb. Okay. Let me replace these with the more PG. So that is a basic thing of the verbs to show which noun is the subject and which is the object, and for marking the subject of a sentence. Next, because we want to get some agreement in there, so we'll have it agree with the topic of the sentence. The verb will agree with the topic of the sentence. And it will agree, actually, instead of that, so make that an A instead. And then we can apply the other things to this. Trying to think about how I would add the feminine masculine distinctions, because they both, feminine ends with an a and masculine ends with an e, but the verb already ends with a stressed a. How would I go about going Japanese with the u endings on the verbs? And then if you want to make this, I just want one row, neuter, feminine, masculine, funky, oh, chat disconnected? The chat disconnected? Also, why are you... Oh my god, my computer connected to my iPhone through continuity, and my phone has been in my pocket recording, and now the phone is almost dead despite almost being fully charged earlier. Talk about a great time. But I think that brings us to the end of day. We are 5 minutes away from the end of the stream, so I think I will call it there. Next time we will figure out more about the verbs themselves, since we've only just only just started the verbs, and we have made them somewhat nominal in nature, but we will expand that by adding more to the verbs, including tenses, aspects, moods, so on and so forth. We just got to figure out how that all will fall into place alongside the heavy agreement I have with the topic of the sentence. So who's still there at the end of this? Or is my chat disconnected and not telling me again? Either way, I will be streaming again Friday, and until then, I bid you all adieu.